Today's show is brought to you by Target, otherwise known as Target. On your marks, get ready, shop. Nothing haunts us women like the things we didn't buy. So save some green Benjamins this St. Patrick's Day at Target. Online shopping is the best. You know why? You can work hard so you can shop harder at Target. Aha! You missed the swimsuit deals Target ran for the last 2 weeks, but you know what? You're just in time to check out the other deals. So access the store discounts from the links in the show notes at ninababel.com/podcast, and you're going to look for episode number 10. If there's anyone out there listening for the first, second, or third time, girlfriend, I need your 5-star rating and review after you listen to any of my episodes, including this one, by clicking the ratings and reviews section in the iTunes or Stitcher app. Then this is what you're going to do. You're going to select 5 stars, you're going to title your review, and then write a description. I mean, that's easy breezy 1, 2, 3, right? In last week's episode, that's episode 9, in case you forgot, we talked about cashing in the V card. Cha-ching! Girly Nation opened up and they shared their most vulnerable moments that us women go through at different ages and stages of our lives. So share it with your friends, your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your aunts, your grandmother, because this one's going to help a lot of women get information. You need to check yourself when you listen to this episode, though, because once it's gone, girlies, you can't get it back. Once it's popped, it's popped. Goodies are gone. It's gone, girl. By now, you get the point, right? Don't forget to shout me out on Instagram, Snapchat, or Twitter using @NinaBabel. In fact, I want you to go ahead and join my Facebook page right now, and you're going to look for Keep It 100 Girl. Girly Nation, are you ready to keep it 100?
Yes, I'm ready to keep it 100.
I'm ready to keep it 100, girl.
You know I'm going to keep it 100.
My hand is raised. How about yours? Let's get this party started.
Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
In fact, let's slay and get information. In today's episode, we're diverting a teeny little bitty bit by talking about who's bringing home the bacon, frying it up, and then washing those dishes afterwards. Can you take a guess? Manchores! Yeah, we can laugh about it amongst ourselves because it's a girl code, sister code, with no Mr. Code thing. And it's that face you and I make when we go, when we talk about man chores. Get it, girl.
Get it, girl.
Before you forget it.
In the kitchen, he says that a woman who doesn't know her way in the kitchen is a murderer. And I was like, dang, Sarah, he's always trying to
Always.
like jabs out there to kind of get your attention.
Right.
But then if you actually think about it, anyone who's in the kitchen, I know he used women because that's sort of like that symbol, like going back to the man chore. Like if there's such thing as a man chore, then there's such thing as a woman chore, right? And so for some people, that means her being in the kitchen and providing and nurturing and feeding her family. That's why we have the need to produce milk. We're the first, givers of life, and we produce food. Like that's, I get it.
Right.
But when he talks about the woman not knowing her way in the kitchen is a murderer, I was like, wow, because cooking is a science, right?
Right.
If you mix the wrong things together, that could be a very dangerous thing. And I remember a friend of mine, we had just graduated from school, we were at a cookout at someone's home and trying to help the woman of the house prepare for this cookout. And we were all in the kitchen gathering around and helping with this, helping with that, and the girl literally picks up two cooking utensils. One was a pot and one was a pan. Mm-hmm. Her question to me was, which one is the pot and which one's the pan? Mm-hmm. She's 21 years old. She is like magna cum laude. She's about to enter a great job with a great corporation, and the girl does not know which one is the pot versus the pan. And I just remember just looking at her like, are you serious? But then at the same time, as I'm judging her, who taught her?
Exactly.
Whoever took the time to teach. So I'm just like, we take a lot of things for granted, is basically what I'm
We
saying.
do.
We got to really start to pay attention. So, yeah, I'm all about the man chore, but I'm also equally about the woman chore, too. We can't have expectations for men to do things, and women are coming stepping up to the plate and also providing some chores as well. It takes two to tango and run a household.
It's not quite a black and white conversation as you would think. I mean, I ended up with a mixed bag of Cheetos from women, and I have some interesting trends to report back to Girly Nation from both women and, yeah, even some men. Yeah, there was a few brave ones who were willing to chime in.
Well, I'm gonna go do the dishes.
Cool.
It'd be nice if you helped me.
No problem. We'll get them a little bit later. I'm just going to hit the streets here for a little bit.
Gary, come on. I don't want to do them later. Let's just do them now. Take 15 minutes.
Oh, honey, I am so exhausted. I just honestly want to relax for a little bit. If I could just sit here, let my food digest, and just try to enjoy the quiet for a little bit, and we can clean the dishes tomorrow.
Gary, I don't like waking up to a dirty kitchen.
Who cares?
I care, all right? I care. I busted my ass all day cleaning this house and then cooking that meal, and I worked today. It would be nice if you said thank you and helped me with the dishes.
Fine. I'll help you do the damn dishes.
Oh, come on. You know what? No, that's not what I want.
You just said that you want me to help you do the dishes.
I want you to want to do the dishes.
Why would I want to do dishes? Why?
See, that's my whole point.
Let me see if I'm following this, okay? Are you telling me that you're upset because I don't have a strong desire to clean dishes?
No, I'm upset because you don't have a strong desire to offer to do the dishes.
I just did.
After I asked you.
Jesus, Brooke, you're acting crazy again.
Don't you call me crazy. I am not crazy.
I didn't call you crazy.
Just
I didn't
did.
call you crazy. No, I didn't. I said you're acting crazy.
But unless you've lived by yourself all your life, I don't think any woman is immune from the chill pill. We all have these semi-heated man-chore type of conversations at some point in our lifetime. So in this episode, my demographic, it ranges from 20 to 40-something-year-olds. They were either single, in a relationship, engaged, divorced, or even married. I had great chats with all of them, and it's interesting to hear how our influences, upbringings, and day-to-day experiences shape our minds over time. So what are man chores? Man chores are what every female officially defines in her head as a man's job to do around the house, or, just period. These include gender stereotype chores that are either labor-intensive, dangerous, or some kind of heavy lifting type of stuff. Just so I'm clear, by no means am I preaching the whole leave it to beaver mentality, right? Both people entering into this relationship should be capable adults, not expecting one to cater to every whim or wish. You feel me? So my story, I grew up with a father who really never saw anything he could not fix, assemble, or improve, right? Whether it was a building, whether it was renovating the house, whether it was car maintenance, repairs, and he even cooked. I mean, he pretty much did it all, but he didn't like cleaning house. My father was my go-to boyfriend, I call it. And it sounds incestuous, but really he was just a call away when I had a question and needed an answer, whether it was related to my car or something in my house. So to this day, my mother loves all the housework, and she proudly owns it. Well, this apple didn't fall from that tree too much. I mean, I did inherit 100% of her patience and meticulousness when it comes to folding, making a bed, and really just picking up crumbs off the floor. But you know what? I do like and appreciate a manicured looking place. And I go crazy with clutter. So what's considered traditional? I mean, every culture has tradition. So let's look at media for a second. You have from past to present. Let's turn back the dial for a second. There's the Dick Van Dyke Show. We had Leave It to Beaver. And now you have Modern Family. You have Blackish, even Empire, Off the Boat. Hell, you even have the Cosbys. Oops, scratch that, not the Cosbys. So listen to our next GFs, that's girlfriends from Girly Nation, who are both in their 30s as they describe their households and how it shaped their gender stereotype minds at a very early age. I mean, even Heather's father was a little drill sergeant when it came to order in their house and the dishwasher.
I grew up in a very traditional home where my mom cooked, and now I watch as my dad reaches retirement, him experimenting in the kitchen. And so I love that, and I feel like he missed out on that the majority of his life. And so I love sharing a kitchen with my man and cooking together and prepping together. So I think that's the only way I'm not traditional in terms of old school roles.
Yeah, I guess growing up, it wasn't necessarily like traditional. My mom stayed home and cleaned, and my dad worked. My dad has always worked the graveyard shift at the hospital just because then he was home all the time when we came home from school, and so was my mom. So they were able to partner on parenting. And then he was also the one who always cooked. My dad I think he enjoyed cooking. He was the one who was kind of made the dinners, and then he also kept us in check on house cleaning. We would have weekend cleaning parties, he would call them, and none of us could go out and do anything until this cleaning party was complete. And we had a chalkboard in the kitchen, and he would write out all the chores, and my brothers and I had to get them all done before doing anything. And it's really funny because my youngest brother has 2 kids. My parents watch them a lot, and my dad still has cleaning parties with them. It's kind of funny to see that being carried on. They're 6 and 7, and it's hilarious. You can mention cleaning parties to them, and they roll their eyes. They're oh. They definitely get the same that we got. I think that carried into my marriage. Not that I have cleaning parties, but I mean I guess it was sort of I never went in as a traditional, oh, I'll clean, and then my husband can just do the working. I feel we kind of share a lot of the chores and the duties, although I'm kind of the dishwasher Nazi that I got from my dad.
Yard work, take out the garbage, electronic, car, house repairs, plumbing. Those are just a few countless examples of what women would normally assign to the men. But here's my 3 biggest takeaways for you. Number 1, when it comes to manchores, you're going to learn through laughter about the prefix frustrations of dating, being engaged, and married. Number 2, you're going to learn about the modernization of manchores in the 21st century. There's no Lucy and Desi anymore. Number 3, you're going to learn more about the likes and dislikes, real-life adjustments that couples make, whether they're dating, engaged, or married, over time. Everyone will agree you should be coming into the relationship as a mature, independent adult capable of taking care of him or herself. If you go back in time, most of us that were in our 20s were either a hot, stinky mess or had clean, freak Nazi parents that made us do chores every weekend. Sound familiar? Bottom line, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, and you can't as a grown-ass adult, that's a problem. Women need a partner in life, equal in all respects. And similarly, men need a partner in life, equal in all respects. Nobody needs to be taken care of 24/7, and vice versa, right? It goes both ways, right, guys? I mean, fair is fair. I get it. I'll give cred where cred is due.
For me, I do believe that the man should do the heavy lifting, anything that labor-intensive in the home that requires, muscle power. I believe that that's for the man to take care of. In terms of very specific lines of delineation for duties of a man or a woman within the home, not so much. I don't really have a very concrete idea for that. And that's just because of my influences growing up where, my grandfather and my uncle, they cooked, they cleaned, they, ironed my uniform for school. They did the other things around the home, mechanical work to the car or any kind of repairs to the household. So, they did it all. So I really just remember them doing a little bit of everything. So for me, in this day and age, I think it's okay if a man can, chip in and help with the cooking and help with the laundry. And it's okay if I take the garbage out. So I don't have a problem in terms of that.
Nina, I'll be very honest with you. Where I grew up, the circumstances of my upbringing and where I grew up, labor was cheap. And so it was very easy to have people to do things for you in a way that is not possible in the Western world. So I kind of grew up like that, and so the concept of man chores is something that I picked up in my older years, and yeah, I am familiar with them. I do have a few of them. Probably don't do as much as my wife would like me to do, but I try. And I think whatever expectations she might have had based on the circumstances of her upbringing, she's probably adjusted them a bit to who I am and why I may not be able to fulfill every expectation that she has because she understands how I was raised.
As a single woman, you might not realize it, but you already have a prefix menu of gender stereotypes in your head of what your boyfriend or even future husband is on the hook for. You have that expectations versus reality. I mean, come on, listen to these women and how many of them say he takes out the garbage.
But in 7 years, I haven't taken out garbage.
Everybody has said men should take the garbage out.
They absolutely should, and I have a pile of it on my porch outside my front, just begging to be moved. I'm like, Curtis, you got like 1 or 2 jobs around here. Get it done. I said that minutes ago. When I come back, please let this be gone. Seriously?
He doesn't always take out the garbage, but I guess that would be an expectation of mine. And maybe I never really realized it, but I do definitely leave the garbage to like almost the point of overflow because it's almost like, why is this being taken out yet? And there's times when I just have to do it. But yeah, I guess that's weird. I kind of do want to expect Brian to do it, but sometimes it just doesn't always happen. That's probably my like bad passive aggressive way of like encouraging someone else to do it instead of myself, which is bad.
Will you take out the garbage for the rest of our lives? Amazing. I love you.
He's good with trash.
He takes the trash. We actually bring our trash to another town, and they do the recycling there. But pretty much he does that most of the time. And I'll help, I'll go. But for the most part, he does that.
I rest my case. In the next segment, Anita is in her late 30s, and she reflects on her low tolerance policy when it comes to chivalry-type man chores that men need to exercise by default, not on demand.
Back in my single days, went to go visit a friend of mine that was doing her postdoc at Penn State and decided to take a road trip with two guy friends who are also alums of Penn State University. So we went up for a football weekend and had a really great road trip experience going up there. And she was hosting like a dinner gathering with her other postdoc friends in her apartment one evening. Now, her friends happened to be all females, all black women, different parts of the African diaspora represented. It was really cool, had a great evening, and it came to the end of the night. And one of the girls had been experiencing car problems all week. That night, her car wouldn't start. Everyone from the dinner party, it was all the women that were there, and then the 2 guy friends that I had brought up with me from D.C. Everyone was outside trying to troubleshoot what was going on with this poor girl's car that wouldn't start. Including my friend whose dad was a mechanic, so she had perhaps the most experience out of anybody in terms of looking at cars, right?
Right.
But I remember going back into my friend's apartment, seeing my 2 guy friends, feet posted up on the coffee table, drinking their cocktails or their beers or whatever, quite comfortable, and we're outside freezing, hovering around the hood of a car, looking at something we probably had no business looking at.
Right.
So I remember being enraged, like, do you all see that there's something wrong with this picture? You got 2 men watching TV with their feet cocked up, drinking cocktails, and you got a bunch of women outside trying to troubleshoot what's going on with the car. I said, excuse me, can you come outside and come look? Their argument was, and these were black, college-educated men, 6-7-figure salaries, driving whatever car that they wanted, flashing whatever money they wanted, literally looked me in the face and said, well, we don't know anything about that, so if we have car problems, we just call somebody for that. I said, well, we are not calling anybody right now because nobody is answering a call for a tow truck or anything. But what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys come outside and pretend to be the men that you are, and at least, pretend to give a damn about what's going on with this young lady. And if you can't troubleshoot what's going on, you are going to give her a ride home or follow her home to make sure that she can at least get home safely. I'm just like, just some man chore basics, right? Like, where are the men at? Why are they not showing up in this scenario? Like, I was just puzzled, upset, pissed off. Like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, when I was in the South at my black college, I would never see gender roles flipped like that before. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, they would never allow a woman to, like, be under the hood of the car, but they felt comfortable sitting around watching TV and drinking cocktails. Like, that was just mind-boggling to me.
Right.
And so one of the things that I learned was, I do have some gender stereotyping and some manchore issues, maybe. And I have some expectations in terms of what I think a man really should be doing, or at least, like, take it until you can become a man. I don't know. That just stood out to me. And maybe that's one of the things that attracts me to my husband, is because he is more man in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I would do with somebody who didn't feel comfortable getting his hands dirty, or at least trying. Like, I need a protector. I don't need someone to get behind my skirt trying to ask me what's going on.
That to me is a deal breaker or a turnoff. The fact that you don't know how to use a toolbox or can diagnose the problem. It's like,
right.
What kind of man are you?
We're either not producing men like our fathers or women like our mothers. I don't know. Like, I do believe you don't come out of the womb knowing these man chores or these gender rules. Like, these are things that are obviously taught. And I think that we need to get back to some basics. You know what I mean?
Right.
And education is great, but we need to have a balance, and you need to be able to do some things. So, yes, girl. Yeah, man chores. I'm all about that.
On the other hand, you might be that hot mess who needs their other half to bring the chaos in your life to order. By default, women have a tendency to transfer all the heavy-duty chores we have no interest in doing to men. I mean, I gotta give cred where cred is due. Some women like Amy in her 30s who lives with her boyfriend admits to still being a hot mess. And she owns it with no hesitation.
I'm probably reverse than a lot of women. Like, a lot of women probably get frustrated because they feel like they clean and they cook and do laundry, where I'm probably the man in that situation. I've always been messy. I've never been that clean. And, like, until now, like, it hasn't really been that much of an issue. Okay. And so he's actually the one, like, you know, Veronica, you need to do more to clean up. You know, like, maybe vacuum once a week. I do all the vacuuming. He's a better cook than me, but just with our chores, like, laid out, like, if I don't cook our dinner, then, like, it is so skewed to, like, him doing so much more that I have to cook. But, like, I don't really like cooking that much, but he really likes it. So I don't know. Anyway, so he would cook if I would clean more, basically. He also does the grocery shopping, and now that I think about it and talking out loud, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a bad girlfriend. I do the laundry. That is, like, the one thing that I'm really good at doing. So it's actually been a pretty sore, we don't fight that much, but if I had to say one thing that we do fight about, it's definitely that. And so we've had to kind of come up with a few things to make it work. Because it was, at the end of the day, like, he just wasn't feeling respected, because he just, I thought, well, like, my time's more important than his time, because, like, I need to work on my business and do X, Y, Z. Like, I need to go to my yoga class, whereas he's coming home and he can't do what he wants to do because he feels like he's sitting in a pile of dirty clothes. So we've had to kind of work around that and make cleaning fun for me so that I can do it. And
I always find it funny to see the ebb and flow of this dynamic and how our deep-rooted social mindsets take effect as early as childhood. I mean, I'm so guilty because I am sure I'm not alone when I say this, but I equate manchores to the sign of caring or love from a guy, right? If men don't step up, it's definitely a turnoff. And if they go out of their way without asking, that's definitely a turn on. Or you know what? He's earned some serious bonus points. There's nothing like the element of surprise. When it comes to upbringing, these women's habits are deep-seated. Remember that woman in her 30s who claimed to be the hot mess in a relationship? Listen carefully as she tracks back her breadcrumb trail when it comes to cleaning.
Release some old stuff I had with my mom, because, like, when he tells me to clean, it automatically brings me back to, like, when I was 10 years old, my mom pestering me to clean. So, we've had to deal with that.
It's the rebel in you, huh?
My dad would have, like, dishwasher loading lessons because he would get, like, super upset about, like, the top dishwasher. If you, like, put lightweight plastic things on top, they would, like, flip upside down and get full of water and not clean. So very strategic about loading the dishwasher. I think I carried that on because I'm really the only person that loads the dishwasher in my house because Brian, my husband's given up. And instead of like learning, he just was kind of like, I'm done. I'm out. So yeah, I got my Nazi dishwasher loading skills from my dad for sure. And it's funny because when my parents come to visit, my mom will be like on the side of Brian and she'll like roll her eyes at my dad and I and be like, oh my gosh, here comes like the dishwasher lessons or the dishwasher rules. So I don't know. I mean, my dad's a scientist, so maybe that just comes from like him being like very methodical. I don't know. But it's really funny because like even when my parents visit, like my mom is kind of the same way as my husband Brian, and she's like, I don't even put anything in the dishwasher because it just gets moved. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So apparently, my dad and I have the same sentiments, and then everyone else also has the same sentiments. Like, it doesn't really bother me. Like, I don't get upset. What's funny is, like, Brian will get more upset, like, when he sees me reorganize his dishwasher. And he'll just be like, oh, see, this is why I don't do it. And I guess it's kind of, I just feel like I pick my battles, and I know it's, like, an annoyance of mine, so I just rearrange it. And it doesn't really bother me. I think what makes me more upset is if I don't catch it and I'm emptying the dishwasher and the shit's not clean because it was loaded wrong. Then I'll get like more annoyed. But for the most part, yeah, like I'm not super bothered by it. I just redo it.
Okay, I have 3 personal stories that are so relevant that I have to share them. But I remember dating a guy in my mid-20s, and this was a time I was very career-focused. I will never forget my boyfriend at the time saying how he wants to be a house husband. I was like, bloop, what? And this was all before the Mr. Mom, the stay-at-home dad phenomenon that happened decades ago. I mean, he was pulling the house husband cards like way before time even started. My initial reaction was, this guy's a flake. He's totally flipping the script. And I found myself having to really deprogram myself from the division of labor thing that I had been conditioned to all my life. That would mean I would officially have to be the breadwinner, which I didn't ask for. And now that I'm older, I can certainly appreciate that gesture, but it wasn't for me then, and it certainly is not the case now.
In addition to my own experiences, real women give mother-frickin' real-life advice. They will express their personal bloopers when it comes to sensitive girly stuff.
I can say this, I have a no tolerance policy for a messy man. But let me qualify this further. A grown-ass messy man. College room dorm smells are just where they should be, in college. Another story is when you meet a guy that's cleaner than you. I mean, for me, it keeps me on my toes. And I consider myself pretty clean. But when a guy instructs you every time you take a shower to use these wipers to clean, like, the glass, and these wipers were like a cuter version of what you see at the gas station, like a little mini-me version. But he wanted me to clean the shower every time so there were no water drop stains tattooed on the glass. And I was like, really? So meet this newly engaged fiancé as she describes how she lucked out and how she got a better bargain than she asked for.
I had a pretty solid idea for what I was looking for. I even wrote an email to a bunch of my friends like, oh man, if I weren't single, I would hope that I'd have a guy who does these kind of things for me. Take out the trash, take care of my car, kill bugs and pick them up. And to be honest, cohabitating and being engaged, it has far exceeded my expectations. I thought I might get the bare minimum out of my fiance, but he goes above and beyond every day. So he does the manchores. He makes sure to remind me, hey, you need an oil change, or he'll always take out the trash unless he's out of town, and then he'll remind me, hey, the trash needs to go out. But beyond that, he does a lot of the cleaning and the cooking, and
so I'll be the man and the woman chore.
Yes. So I have some catching up to do, and I'm well aware of that. It's on my to-do list.
I expect him to fix stuff and kill bugs. Really. That's about it.
When you meet people, there's a constant adjustment to each other's socialized norms. When I was dating, I had a boyfriend who would always say this. He could always tell when a woman was in a relationship because he would immediately look at her car and know. If it was clean, she had a man, and if it was dirty, she was single. He would always tell me it's a man's job to keep a woman's car clean. And that's what a boyfriend and a husband is for. That stuck with me. Not only did it stick with me, but it's a measuring stick to see if any other man feels the same way. I don't have the credentials of being a married woman, so I sought out 3 types of couples for you guys, including their husbands. So one is engaged to be married this September, and then you other 2 are married couples that have been married for at least 2 to 7 years. It's interesting to see the preconceived notions we bring to the altar, whether we choose to discuss it or not, or just defer those interactions until after we say I do. So this married couple you're going to hear next is in their 30s, and they happily discuss their differences, and it's apparent once you get the line drawn in the sand, it's swept away, and it starts all over again. You can always call to mind the times that you cleaned or wrecked the kitchen more easily than you remember the times your partner did. And so you just assume you're doing most of it. Tracy is married, mother of 2, certainly feels like she's doing most of the work.
It is the woman's house, and everyone knows that. And, you know, you say, I'm going to Bubby's house. It's the woman's house, and so it's a reflection on you. So I end up finding myself trying to make sure that it does look a certain way, and so I just handle it. I just take care of it. I mean, and I think there is an expectation, too, but I expect it as well as he does, I guess, to do it. I want peace of mind.
I want you to listen close because at the same time, hear how these men answer the question with absolute certainty despite knowing nothing about the subject at hand. Interesting.
My perception of gender roles or manchores. So I was raised in a traditional Caribbean household where I never saw my father to this day wash a dish. Right? So as the girls in the household, we're trained to take care of the household needs. Wash the clothes, wash the dishes, cook the food, serve the man, take the plate away from the man when he's done cooking, right? When he's done eating his plate.
Yes.
And so it goes. So I think I was domesticated in that regard. Even if I didn't always practice it as a young woman, I knew how to play the role if I wanted to play that role.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with it because at the same time, you know, if I'm in the bed with my husband in the middle of the night and I hear some sound and there's a baseball bat next to the bed, I would be damned if he said, baby, go downstairs and take the baseball bat. I'll come down after you and check on you to see if you're okay. I would be damned if he suggested something like that. He better go and figure out to see if there's a burglar downstairs and protect the household. That's sort of like my expectation in terms of gender roles go.
Lessons learned. These couples have created systems and clear expectations in order to reduce conflict. If you cook, then don't clean. If you clean, then don't cook. Create systems so that when someone else is tired of one thing, you guys can easily switch off.
It's a wonderful relationship when you're not nitpicking at every little thing. If we just handle things, you know, the outsourcing will help us to be able to have a better life together.
And that's how you guys adjust.
That's how we adjust.
Funny, you will see from these conversations, it's a touchy subject, whether it's 1, 5, 7, 10 years of knowing each other. I don't get it, because it's not even an intimate one. But these women use baby talk to smooth over this sensitive subject over and over.
I have no idea.
He's having a good time.
Making a bed? Mm-mm.
He doesn't understand why you want to make it the bed. Why, baby? Because you're just going to get back into it again? I don't understand. I'm like, that's the way you're supposed to
To me, it's a waste of time.
It's not a waste of time.
So you're going to wake up and spend 20 minutes putting pillows here and there and make sure it's nice and no wrinkles. That's a waste of time.
It would be a little different, though, if my husband just if everything that you slept with on the bed remained on the bed. But throughout the night, if he doesn't need a pillow anymore, it will make its way
to the floor?
Under the floor, under the bed. I'm just like, the bed is not on the floor. So if everything was pertaining to the bed, fell back on the bed, maybe I'd be like, okay.
That's all I need is one blanket, one pillow, that's it. Not 20 pillows in the bed and 20 blankets and...
I understand that I understand that's not your thing. I get that.
Us single women who live with their boyfriends or our soon-to-be-married, also struggle with the whole manchore thing.
Yeah, I feel like in my 20s, it was like, how ambitious are you? How good looking are you? Do you make me laugh? Now it's like, will you take out the garbage for the rest of our lives? Amazing. I love you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, can you take care of things? I'm the same. My boyfriend is a fixer and has the tool belt, and like for Valentine's Day built me something handmade with woodworking tools, and I was just like, are you kidding me? This is amazing. And we had the conversation about chores early on in the relationship, and I was like, I never want to take the garbage out ever again in my life. And he's like, cool, I got it. I'm like, awesome, score.
This probably stems from me being single for so long and just kind of having to handle things and outsourcing certain jobs.
Right.
And I just feel like, the job of a plumber, or the job of a mechanic, or the job of an electrician is important, to the point where I need to get a professional who understands what they're doing to handle these job duties for me. And from the age of 18, being on your own and being on my own from 18 years of age and having to handle things, I never took it upon myself to go learn how to do it or learn from someone how to do it. I just prefer to outsource it to the professional who understood it better than, just a generalist. So I don't even like the handyman who knows everything. I always prefer someone who specializes in a particular area to take care of the duties for me around the home.
Manchores is something that wasn't even a blip on my radar until now. My list looked like any other woman's. What do you do for a living? What school did you go to? Ambition, short, long-term goals. Meaning, when I was dating in my younger years, all I cared about is if he can cook or clean. And that's where it stopped. Today, it's different. If he can fix inside, outside of the house, do yard work, owns a toolbox, is electronically inclined, now that's an attractive guy. And I'm not women shaming our skills either. I mean, it's not impossible for a woman to understand him and really be handy or have some handy know-how just from watching her father practicing or performing a trade as her occupation. This mother created a biological and handy mini-me without even realizing it.
This is the humorous fact. Okay, I may not have had, the best experience. I may have had kissed more frogs in my life. But the guy that I have now, I'm extremely, extremely lucky. I don't take it for granted. I come home at night, almost every night, and dinner is pretty much waiting on the table for me. So it's the opposite of what most people would think, but that's his manchore. He cooks for me, and he cooks, I clean, and most of the time, I would say 80% of the time, I don't mind cleaning because he's such a good cook, and I'm really, really lucky. But when you said manchore, he just sort of looked at me. Really?
That's the reaction I want. Yay.
But seriously, at the whole training thing, I think it kind of goes both ways, because there's things that I just hate to do. And for the most part, like today, while I was waiting, he takes the trash. We actually bring our trash to another town, and they do the recycling there. But pretty much he does that most of the time. I'll help, I'll go, but for the most part, he does that. And the division of responsibility, we're pretty evenly placed. Like, if I cook, he does dishes. If he cooks, I do dishes. We both do laundry. But we're also, we're each other's second marriage. So that, I think, plays a huge difference. We both kind of have more of a respect, and, we're more open about what works, what doesn't work. But I remember when I was married, oh my gosh, we would have fights about the chores. It would just, that's a matter of growing up. But definitely the division in my previous marriage was definitely along the manchore lines, that the guy did all the outside work and all of the handyman work and all of that. And now I'm proud to say that I'm the proud owner of an entire tool collection. When I moved in with my fiance, I think he was more envious of the fact that I had more tools than he did.
Wow. The modernization of manchores has taken off. There are women who love doing manchores. There are chores that are innately native to each gender and they're not willing to bend. And then now we have the whole outsourcing thing. And as this couple put it, he's referred to as the brains of the business.
It's more of a team approach now. My mother's generation, They took care of so much within the home. They just carried such a heavy load that I don't know how they did it. I can't do that. So we have to share duties and we have to outsource. That's how it has to work out for us so that we don't drive ourselves crazy.
Maybe she fixes things all day if he does the dishes. I freaking hate the dishes. Maybe he or she should outsource because neither one of them has the know-how or care to know.
But what's your contribution to the clean house, to maintaining a clean house?
Maybe I know how to clean, just I do it my way.
So, like, when you cook, do you clean or does she clean after you cook? What's the arrangement?
Most of the time I clean and cook.
Why are you telling stories, Nina? You know she records conversations and shit that you have.
Baby, when I cook, I clean, right?
No.
So I never clean.
I didn't say never, but you don't. The way I cook, I clean as I cook. If I'm on the stove and I'm making something with a sauce and the sauce spills on the stove, I get the rag or the washcloth, whatever, and I wipe the sauce off so that there's a cake on there and stay there for days and weeks and months or whatever and gross things. So he'll cook a beautiful meal. He'll plate it for you, be like beautiful, more beautiful than any restaurant you've ever ate at in life. Then you'll go in there, the pot is there, the stuff is everywhere, whatever, juices.
Nah, I don't cook like that. It's not all over.
He loves to cook with, what's your base ingredients?
Coconut.
Garlic, onions. And so if you're cutting off the garlic, you've got to cut off the part you don't use, whatever that's called.
Exactly.
So he's on the cutting board. He cuts up the stuff and the waste from the vegetables that he's not going to eat or use or cook with. Where does it end up?
Trash can.
Yeah, right.
Where?
Most of it, I would say 90% of it does, but like the head of something or whatever that's clearly not being used is still like on the counter somewhere. And then like if he cooks up a pot of something, don't let it be a pot of something, because that pot will make its way into the sink, right, with soap and water, right? It will. You'll do that. You'll get that far. And then it will stay there. And so the biggest joke at the end of the dinner is, baby, you gonna wash the dishes? Because my whole thing is, if I cook, I'm cleaning after myself, so I think you should be doing the same thing.
But the way you cook is different from the way I
He
cook.
hates washing dishes. Every time he's washing dishes, I go around the house and I find like cups. So I'll pick up the cups from...
And they belong to you, right?
They belong to you. And so I'll pick them up and I'll start to put them in the sink as he's washing the dishes. Where are we getting all these dishes from? Why can't we use the same cup over and over again? I'm like, I don't know. Why can't we use the same cup over and over again? You tell me. But then I just think about my childhood because my father never washed a dish.
My turn. Can you tell me why we had like 2 gallons of milk in the refrigerator, a whole bunch of eggs, like 5 bags of tomatoes? Because she doesn't look.
Men always want to teach you how to drive, reverse, and park your car better than you already do. You know the whole spinning of the arms to show you the direction to spin your wheel, when to start turning your wheel, or even just an abrupt stop.
And other things, like when we're together driving somewhere, I don't love driving. So like if you want to drive and be the man, that is awesome as well. So I fully let him be in control that way.
Throughout their lives, there's something that's pushed or influenced us in these manchore roles that had a basis in gender. If a woman chooses to do feminine chores, that's fine. But if she's forced to because she's a woman, that's not fine. And the same goes for men. Dishes or lawn work, neither discriminates.
We've been married like 9 years and together for like 13. So it's hard to think back of like what my expectations were before.
Yeah.
I guess on the way of like housekeeping and like life, I didn't really have that much expectations. I guess I kind of went in hoping and assuming that it would be sort of like a team effort. I think because that's like kind of how my family was growing up. And even though my dad did the majority of the cooking, like my mom did at times. And it just seemed like both of them were kind of like a team. And they were around a lot. And then like Brian and I are different because we started out dating when we were working together. Like I always have worked for him, with him. I was his like assistant when we met and when we started dating. So we've kind of always had that like connection and close role. And we pretty much share, I think, for the most part. Like I take over like laundry and dishes only because I'm a little bit particular in that area. But he'll totally step up and do it if I asked him to, or if he noticed it like wasn't getting done. Like he would just go and start a little laundry and do it. So we both kind of tackle it together. He is pretty handy and would probably do like the majority of handyman type stuff around the house. And I guess if there's any expectation, like I've never mowed the lawn. That's like definitely a gender role or like a husband job in my eyes. Like, thankfully, we don't have a lawn anymore. We just have like fake grass because, California drought. But when we did have lawn, I never mowed it. That was something he always did without me asking. I guess it was just sort of like an expectation of that's what he does. But I cook most of the time also, but not for any reason other than I like it. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty split. And I think that was my expectation going in, was kind of split. Brian was raised, for the most part, by his mom, and he has 3 older sisters. So I think that a woman environment maybe helped out a lot, too. Basically, he's the baby of 3 older sisters and then his mom. And so that kind of, I think, had a big impact on him just sort of either, 1, having to man up and do stuff, and 2, really learning how to just kind of do everything also.
In her household, gender roles apply to this modern-day couple.
I do hear of friends who, have their spouses wash their own clothes for whatever reason. Like, I know when Curtis and I first got married, this is a funny story. He just threw all his clothes in the laundry, right, in the laundry basket. And then I sort colors, but I figure if it's in the basket, it's washable, right? And he put, his dry cleaning type clothes, his nice cashmere, etc., came out looking like a 4-year-old sweater repeatedly. I'm like, okay, how many times are we going to have this conversation? It's not my fault. Don't put it in the laundry basket. Put it somewhere else. So that changed, but, I've had conversations with other friends where now the guys, they just do their own laundry, and that would be awesome. Curtis does not at all. I would like for some help in that department, and I guess that is on me because I don't know that he wouldn't do that. Help do the laundry or fold it or something, because that's a pain. He also helps in the kitchen. Again, everything if I ask, I just don't want to have to ask. You see the kitchen's overflowing, and I'm doing 20 things. But if I ask, he'll do it. But routinely, I got everything but the garbage, I guess.
He's a little sexist, chauvinistic. He does definitely believe in roles. And let me tell you what's happening. We're getting our basement remodeled as I speak, and they're going to do a laundry move. And what he said to me yesterday, he said, your laundry room is going to be banging, not your. And I almost tackled him. I was like, you got to be joking. Seriously? My laundry room? So that's what I'm working with. So it's a work in progress, but it always has been. We laughed when we were dating, but he is kind of old school in his head.
Where does he get that from?
I don't know, because his mom wasn't like that. Well, probably his daddy. Actually, his daddy. There you go. I don't even know why I said I don't know. His daddy does not do anything for himself. In fact, when we went on vacation, I got up early and nobody else was up. And he and his daddy and his brother were in the kitchen just walking in circles because they didn't know how to work the coffee machine. And they were waiting for her to get up and make them coffee. I was like, look at this shit. Like Curtis. So he's way more independent than they are, but yeah, he got it from his daddy.
At each couple's house, you will hear the tasks aren't divided or assigned. But there's an understanding between them that over the duration of their marriage, the perceived effort should be similar. People who are most happy in their relationships distribute chores by area of expertise. Basically, each spouse takes care of the chores they're good at.
He's good with trash. He's good with, lifting the heavy items and bringing them in from the car. So, I've learned to manage my expectations, and I would not by any means get upset if there's something that needs to be done and he didn't do it right away. I just handle it.
But at the same time, there are certain things when a couple gets married that you may discover that the man might be better. Like in my case, my husband is a superb chef. Like when he cooks food, you experience the love that he puts into it by every mere morsel of food that you put into your body, right?
Right.
I am more talented in the home decor, the hostessing, the cocktail making, making you feel like you're comfortable in my home. That's where I thrive. He doesn't thrive necessarily in that. You're not going to hear maybe 10 words out of him if there's a house full of guests or whatever, just because he's kind of built differently than I am socially. So we balance each other, I think, quite nicely. So whereas maybe if I were to be in a more traditional Caribbean marriage, maybe the expectation would be that I handle the hostessing, the cooking, the cleaning, everything. But we have to share those duties based off of who's better at doing what. I'm better at the cleaning and the keeping the home than he is. He tries, but it doesn't meet my expectations. So 7 years, he has not washed clothes in 7 years. But in 7 years, I haven't taken out garbage, right? I haven't changed a tire. I haven't taken my car to get an oil change. None of those things, because that's his job.
Right.
So as far as manchores go, I think they can be gender specific, but I think, in this modern context, it's based off, for me, I feel more comfortable with manchores being assigned to what you're actually good at. Because if I have to go behind you and correct something that you've done just based off of the fact that I think you're a man and you should do those things, you might have a hot mess situation.
Yeah, so there are things that I try to get done by the time when a hubby gets home. If I'm home for the day, usually he's home first. So I'll leave for work at 7:30, and I'll get home at 10. And by that time, he's already done a lot of the chores. So I really don't know what to say. I plan on doing better. But when I am home and he's gonna come home, I do try to at least pick up. I try to have the bed made. I try to have any visible piles of dirt gone. No dishes in the sink. Just those normal things that somebody who's coming home is like, you've been home all day and you haven't done any of this, even though me being home still means me working.
It's organic, and after being married, I realized, and I hear this a lot amongst my married friends, about you can't expect men to see what you see or intuitively know that they need to do this. You actually have to physically say, even if there's a big, gigantic elephant in the middle of the room, you have to actually tell him or ask him to move the elephant. You can't expect for him to, he will keep walking around the elephant. And so it's not really routine, if I want something cleaned or whatever, even though it's just a big gigantic mess, and it's don't you see that? I have to say, can you do it? So it's not routine, but there is shared responsibility, but I have to ask. Even the garbage, he knows that's his job, but he'll let it pile up.
So we've learned that men are now likely to do more of the everyday domestic work in households than past generations. It isn't a 50-50 thing. It's a 100-100 thing when it comes to chores. You're both not each other's helper either. It's both your responsibilities too. Men are now more likely to take on tasks such as shopping, cooking, cleaning, and you know what? Doing their hair, doing the kids' hair. This couple is engaged to be married, and as of now, their division of labor is not in her favor. As she describes it, it's more like 80-20. But she's working on it.
I actually like to do the laundry. I like to do sorting and organizing, but I like to do everything a little bit slower than he gets them done. So when I do it, I block out a lot of time for it, and I go into really into a lot of depth. I'll get out the cleaning toothbrush and clean the crevices. So I say he does the 80% and I do the 20%. Really well. That 20% is. So the adjustment and expectation has really been around keeping someone else's cleaning schedule, because you're happy with your own dirt, and if you have a really busy period, that as soon as you have a moment, you're going to clean everything up. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing a space transformed. It was dirty, now it's clean. As opposed to him, he keeps everything for the most part clean, and there's not that big transformation that happens where it might have piled up and now it's clean. So we never hit pile up point, and then I feel bad about that because he's always picking up a little bit. But if he could live with the dirt a little bit longer, I would clean it. Because I had those roommates in college that I was just like, if I wait long enough, if I can stomach it long enough, they'll clean it up. Everybody just cleans on their own schedule.
That's why it's good to have his and hers bathroom.
His bathroom is cleaner.
Split the work according to your abilities, not gender. If you both suck at it, hire someone or do the whole rock, paper, scissors thing just like this couple does.
Now, if the task becomes a bit complicated, if it has anything to do with electricity, for example, I would prefer to get a professionals to take care of it. You know, just to make sure that there's no liability involved. You understand where I'm coming from. I don't know when we flip the switch, we're not going to see a spark of, fire shoot out from the wall that will, catch the pillowcase on fire or, cause anything else to go wrong. So it's okay to flip through the yellow pages or check Angie's list and get a referral for those types of duties around the home.
For the most part, I'm a firm believer in outsourcing. Probably maybe because it works well for me, but I'm a firm believer in outsourcing because, again, that's how I was raised. So I don't mind paying someone. I have no ego when it comes to, I have to prove that I can do electrical work, I can do plumbing work. I'm the first person to say, let's get someone to take care of that. I have no ego. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. And I think that my wife understands that about me. I think she understands that. I believe, rightly or wrongly so, that my strengths are in brain power and not... Which is not to diminish any other responsibilities, but...
He says he's the brains behind the business.
But, she knows that when there are certain types of issues that have to do with personalities, life, work, family, there are areas where we all have blind spots. She knows that I'm attentive and I listen to those things and I try and give my opinion and try to help resolve some of those things. So, I might be all of the manchore man that she would like to have, but I think I make up for it in other ways.
This probably stems from me being single for so long and just kind of having to handle things and outsourcing certain jobs.
Right.
And I just feel like, the job of a plumber, or the job of a mechanic, or the job of an electrician is important, to the point where I need to get a professional who understands what they're doing to handle these job duties for me. And from the age of 18, being on your own, and being on my own from 18 years of age, and having to handle things, I never took it upon myself to go learn how to do it or learn from someone how to do it. I just preferred to outsource it to the professional who understood it better than, just a generalist. So I don't even like the handyman who knows everything. I always prefer someone who specializes in a particular area to take care of the duties for me around the home.
And there you have it, Girly Nation. That wraps up another episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Please tweet you listened to the Manchore episode by tagging me on Twitter or Instagram @NinaBabel. Or you know what's even better? You could send me a Snapchat. New episodes of the Keep It 100 Girl Show drop every Tuesday on iTunes, Stitcher, and now Google Play. Don't forget to share the show with your girlies. Anybody that has a question or a personal story, send your email to askit@NinaBabel, and I will feature it on an upcoming show. Give me some love, Girly Nation. Show me your girl hug by subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast in iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Technically, I'm still the new chick on the iTunes block, so when you rate and review my podcast, you're helping my position in every iTunes category, no matter if you're on Google Play or Stitcher. Check out my vids on YouTube by typing Nina Babel. Join me next week for a spotlight on Subi Zimmerman. Most people know her as the #Instagram expert, founder of Insta Results, and has a worldwide following of over 30,000 people on Instagram. Sue and I had a really great chat. We put aside all that Insta social stuff though and discussed more about her personal life. I mean, this was a first for Sue, so I'm glad to be part of that. She kept it 100 and has a targeted personal message she wants to share with all mothers and daughters in the next episode. So tune in next week. Smooches!